Hey, good morning, everybody. How's it going? Gonna be getting this show started here in just a few minutes. Guys, this is the first time that we've ever done a live show, so I hope that you guys will enjoy it. Should be should be quite a bit of fun. I hope you guys will like it. This is the first time that I've done it though, so I'm not exactly sure how the whole thing is going to work. You guys will have to let me know if you enjoy what we're doing here on the live show. I'm not really 100% certain that this is going to be the best way to do it, but I thought it would be a fun way nevertheless. I'm not really too experienced with Google Hangouts or anything like that, so hopefully you guys will like what we're doing here, and it won't be too much of a shit show. Sorry if the background is kind of little kid-like. My little girl just had her first birthday party yesterday, so we got like some cards here. We got some party decorations, that kind of stuff set up. And yeah, anyway, that was a good time yesterday. Crazy that Karl Malone died this morning, huh, guys? It's freaking insane. Never expected that, man. It's bizarre. I got to see how to get the chat window rolling here. Not exactly sure. I know that you can leave comments below, and that might be the best way to do it. Um, hmm, trying to figure this whole thing out. So bear with me for just a few minutes, guys. Sorry about that. Hmm. Trying to figure out the best way to do the whole comments thing, guys. So hopefully, again, that you guys will be able to stick by here. Let's see here. Okay, it looks like we got some comments here below. The other way that we could do this, because again, I for some reason I can't figure out how to use the chat feature on here or where the hell it is. I don't know. Not really sure how you do that whole thing. So maybe the best way for us to do this would be for me to have you guys tweet your questions at me, and then I can answer them live here on the chat. So what I'll do, guys, if you don't know, my Twitter account is at ClickWithTV. And if you guys want to send me your questions at ClickWithTV, I'd be glad to answer those for you. I'm going to try and pay attention to the thing below, which is in the comment section of the video. But for some reason, I know there's a way to make a little chat window pop up on Google Hangouts, but I cannot figure it out because, again, I'm a complete noob to this. The whole Google Hangouts thing is brand new to me. I see a question down there to start things off here. I have Amari Cooper and Devin Funchess. Will they do well? Well, I guess that depends on your definition of well for a rookie. I mean, I think Amari Cooper has a decent opportunity this week. I think, given the fact that, Cincinnati's secondary, yes, they're very, very good. They were really good against opposing quarterbacks and against opposing passing games in 2014, but we don't necessarily know that that's going to transfer over to 2015. The Raiders have gotten better. They did add Michael Crabtree, I think, an additional year for Derek Carr. I almost called him David Carr. His older brother's David Carr, but for Derek Carr should be a nice way for him to improve. So hopefully we'll see a little bit of Amari Cooper. I have Amari Cooper ranked 15th this week. Devin Funchess, I have ranked 39th. So you can see I've got Amari Cooper quite a bit higher than I have Devin Funchess. This is for half PPR scoring. And guys, if you're interested, what I'm going to do is actually put my live rankings here in the chat below in the comment section. So if you guys want to check those out, it should show up if you didn't see them already. And that's pretty much what I'll be going off of for the most part. You know, it could be an interesting situation where you're in a full PPR league or non-PPR league where it's really close, and then I might lean one way or another from my rankings. But for the most part, my rankings are probably going to be pretty much where I have these guys. I am actually moving down a couple of guys. I have, Mike Evans. I think you have to move down a little bit right now. He is looking very, very questionable right now to play later this afternoon against the Titans. So I think that's kind of a little bit of a concern to me. I'm not overly excited about Evans' opportunity this week anyway. I know the Titans' defense wasn't very good, but their secondary was a lot better than their run defense was. So I expect to get that we'll see quite a bit of Doug Martin today versus them going out there and trying to chuck the ball 40 times with Mariota. So I think it's going to be a little bit more I think it's going to be a little bit of run based versus pass based here in week 1 for the Buccaneers. So again, I'm probably benching Mike Evans in a lot of leagues right now. You know, if you're in a situation where you've got, let's say, just thinking here, I'm just spitballing. If you've got Sammy Watkins or Mike Evans, I'm probably leaning Sammy Watkins right now. And obviously, if you're in a situation where you don't have another option at 3 o'clock or later, if you don't have the guys playing in any Monday games or the Sunday night game, or any of the other guys playing in the afternoon games, the later afternoon games, make sure you guys take Mike Evans out of your lineup, because you don't want to take that 0 here in week 1. You got to have somebody going out there and putting up some sort of points anyway. All right, we're getting quite a few questions here, guys, so thank you so much. Who would you start? This is from Dark Raptor X3. Who would you start, Eli Manning or Sam Bradford? That's a good question. I'm leaning toward I'm leaning towards Sam Bradford. I have them ranked pretty close to one another here. I've got Eli Manning ranked 9th and Sam Bradford ranked 7th. I think both these games are going to be a shootout. I expect a lot of passing yardage in both of them. I think Sam Bradford's upside is just a little bit higher here in week 1. I think Atlanta's defense might be one of the absolute worst in the league right now. Dallas's defense is not great. Don't get me wrong. They did lose Skandrick as well, so that's never a good thing. But I think Dallas's defense is a little bit better than Atlanta's. Philadelphia's offense is going to be out there running a ton of different plays. I think that they're going to be giving Atlanta a lot of problems here in week 1. I think Sam Bradford's looked amazing so far in this Philadelphia offense. So I'm leaning towards Sam Bradford. I've got him ranked 7th, like I said, at quarterback for week 1 here. So this is his opportunity to shine. If he can make it through the week and he looks decent, I think Sam Bradford's guy that you're talking about looking at for a QB1 starter going forward. So I definitely am a big fan of Sam Bradford here in week 1. And really, frankly, going forward, I'm relying on him a lot. Next question, CJ Anderson or Alfred Blue? I mean, this one should be pretty obvious. You got to go CJ Anderson. CJ Anderson's looking pretty good so far. All indications are that he's going to get the vast majority of touches. Alfred Blue, yes, he'll probably get the majority of touches, but it's Houston. And frankly, their offense isn't very good. Denver's offense is very, very good. CJ Anderson, you took him in the first round or the second round for a reason. You got to get him out there in week 1. That was from MapQuest Boy on Twitter. Then we've got one. Who do I start? Alfred Morris, Carlos Hyde, or Jarvis Landry? Now, this, I think, comes down to whether you're in a PPR league or not. If you're in a PPR league, I think you could consider rolling out Jarvis Landry. But I am probably still, I don't know. It's a tough one because, again, I think it really kind of depends on the PPR format. If you're in a standard league or a PPR, it really does vary quite a bit, I think. I would probably this is a tough one. I might lean Jarvis Landry either way, to be honest with you. I think that he's got a good matchup here in week 1. Washington is a really, really bad secondary. They have been for quite some time. Ryan Tannehill's he's his main target. He's the only guy in the offense that he's really that acclimated with, and I think that's going to show here early in the season. I think Jarvis Landry could be talking 7-8 catches this week. And if he does that, I think he's the obvious starter, even if it's not a PPR league. But if it is, definitely lean toward him as well. Carlos Hyde, Alfred Morris, probably 2 of the lower PPR running backs. So I'm not really too excited about them. Mike Evans or Brandon Cooks? That one is an obvious one. Brandon Cooks is the start there. Mike Evans, we don't really know. He's not going to be at 100% either way, but he's probably not going to start anyway. So, that's never a good, or he's probably not going to be I guess I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with Evans, but even if he does start, he's not going to be at 100%. So let's not get into that. Let's see here. This guy's asking me to rate his team. I will rate your team at a later time because, you know, you're not really asking any pressing questions that we need to answer right now. PPR league, Dwayne Allen or Tyler Eifert. I actually would probably go Tyler Eifert here, and the reason for it is because Dwayne Allen is going to be splitting tight end snaps with Kobe Fleener. Yes, the Colts do run quite a few two tight end sets, and that could mean Dwayne Allen gets more touches than your average tight end in a two tight end set. But I think Dwayne Allen has better value in a standard scoring or a touchdown heavy format. Dwayne Allen really didn't catch that many passes last year in 2014, but he did catch quite a few touchdowns on those catches. So it kind of leans you toward wanting to play him in a standard scoring format versus a PPR format, if that makes sense. Tyler Eifert coming off of major injury, obviously, but he should be the main tight end there in Cincinnati, and I like his chances to have a decent game today. Let's see here. What else do we got? Deshaun Jackson or Sammy Watkins. So this is, I think, an interesting one because these are both guys that I'm not overly excited about, to be completely honest with you. I guess I'd probably lean towards Sammy Watkins. I think that Buffalo is probably going to have to pass quite a bit more. And, you know, in order to keep up in this game, Washington, Miami, neither of those offenses are spectacular right now. So I think that game's probably going to be a little closer. But I'm leaning towards Sammy Watkins right now. I'm not really sure what that offense in Washington is going to look like here in week one. So I'm not super excited about what they've got going on. I know Tyrod Taylor is the quarterback in Buffalo, but Sammy Watkins is still the wide receiver one. So hopefully he'll get a decent number of looks here. All right, let's move on. TJ Yeldon or Carlos Hyde, both are RB1, but will they put up RB1 numbers? I'm not sure that either of them are RB1s, to be completely honest with you. You know, on a week-to-week basis, they could be. I have both of them ranked outside of the week of the RB1s for week one. Sorry about that. So let's see here. Carlos Hyde, I have ranked 18th at running back right now in half PPR leagues. I have TJ Yeldon ranked 22nd. So I'm leaning toward Carlos Hyde here in week one against Minnesota. I think he's a more guaranteed guy to get the lion's share of the carries. And I think that in week one, especially with a rookie running back, we need to kind of keep that in consideration. We don't want to be out here, you know, doing anything crazy. So, give me just 1 second, guys, because I want to make sure that I put out a tweet and just remind people that I'm live right now here on the YouTubes. So give me just one moment, and I'll get back to answering more questions for you guys. Thank you so much for all of you guys who are stopping by this morning. I hope you guys are having a good time. Hopefully we can get this chat rolling a little bit better. Give me just one moment here, like I said. And can I see the chat there? Nope. This is frustrating. I still can't figure out how to do the stupid chat thing, which is very, very irritating to me right now. Okay. Yeah, I'm still so new to all this stuff. All right, there's the YouTube page link. Jeez. Hard to even figure out some of this stuff, man. It's crazy. Stream straight to your YouTube. Fuck Google Hangout. I think I am, but I'm not exactly sure how to do that, Chase. So maybe you can help me out after this. Maybe we can figure out how to do this a little bit better. I'm not really sure how it works. Okay, so I put out a tweet at least that has a YouTube link, although I'm not really sure how that works. It does look like we have some people in here, though. So 46 of you, thank you guys for coming by this morning. And hopefully we can, you know, continue to grow this on a week-to-week basis. Looks like there's quite a few questions here in the comments below, so I'll try to answer those here in just a moment as well. Then I'll flip on back over to Twitter. Oh, we got a lot here on YouTube. Okay. Let's see here. Hyde, Ivory, or Baldwin. I'm definitely leaning toward Ivory here in week 1. That's from the one. I like Ivory a lot here in week 1. I think that Cleveland's defense isn't spectacular. I think that Chris Ivory is likely to get quite a few carries here in week 1. So I think that his opportunity is the best of the bunch. How do you think Nelson Aguilar and Tevin Coleman will do in a non-PPR league? It's really hard to say with rookies. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Devonta Freeman in Atlanta. Is he going to play? We don't really know 100% for certain if he is. If he doesn't, I like Tevin Coleman quite a bit more. But unfortunately, we have to make those decisions for our lineups here before that. So I'm going to go with Tevin Coleman probably getting about 60 to 65% of the carries for Atlanta, which is obviously a pass-first offense. So it's questionable to begin with, to be honest with you, even if Devonta Freeman is unhealthy and doesn't play. But I still think that Coleman is a guy that you could squeeze out there as a especially in a standard scoring league here in week 1 as a flex. Nelson Aguilar, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with him. I think he's one of the biggest question mark guys going into week 1. A lot of people are talking about him as being, kind of the breakout wide receiver here among the rookies, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Philadelphia's offense is good enough that pretty much anybody can survive and, kind of resurrect their career. So I would not be surprised at all if now Nelson Aguilar is actually supplanting Jordan Matthews as the wide receiver 1. I mean, obviously I have Matthews ranked higher going into the year, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of the year, Aguilar's the guy that we're talking about. Can I say my team you help? I don't know what that means. Amir Abdullah or Melvin Gordon. I am leaning toward Melvin Gordon. I like Amir Abdullah for the majority of the season, but Gordon, I think, is much more likely to get a good number of carries here in week 1. So I would go Melvin Gordon over Amir Abdullah here in week 1. Got to choose between flexes, Alfred Morris or Amari Cooper, no PPR. This is from Jason Jaraminski. Alfred Morris or Amari Cooper, no PPR. So the no PPR, I think, is important because this would be pretty obvious if it was PPR. Still, I am going to be leaning toward Amari Cooper in a non-PPR anyway. I think Alfred Morris's situation here against Miami might be a really tough one in week 1. Now, Alfred Morris, I will say, is more likely to get more touches, of course. So that's an opportunity situation where, if you want to be safer, you might want to go with Alfred Morris. If you had, let's say, Gronkowski or Brady or Antonio Brown on Thursday Night Football, you might be able to be a little bit safer with your lineup. And if that's the case, then maybe you lean toward Alfred Morris. But I'm going to go with Amari Cooper as far as, from a standard situation without any extenuating circumstances. Will McCoy start? It sounds like LaShawn McCoy is going to start. I haven't seen any updates indicating otherwise. Let's check out Twitter real quick here. A lot of times that'll be the best way for us to get that type of update. So I'm just going to type in his name into the search and see what happens here. It looks like he's working out. So I think that he should be good to go. LaShawn McCoy and Alshon Jeffrey are good to go, according to FanDuel. So that's a good sign. So, yes, sounds like LaShawn McCoy is going to be ready to roll. Wiza says, enable live comments in your settings. See, I don't see any settings on here to be able to enable live comments. Maybe we'll have to try and check this out, another time. Because it's really frustrating to me. I'm sorry, guys, that I don't know how to do that. Because honestly, I would love to be able to have a chat rolling on the side. I just don't know how to do it. So maybe I'll have Wiza or Chase or somebody help me out this week. Again, I'm brand new to Google Hangouts. This will go more smoothly as we go through the season, as we get more into things. And, maybe I'll even have some little graphics across the bottom or something like that if I can figure out how to do that type of stuff, make it more like a standard live stream. I would try and do this on Twitch, but Twitch doesn't actually allow you to stream unless you're streaming gaming content. So this is not technically gaming content. Although you could probably argue that it kind of is because fantasy football is a game, but I'm not going to try and push it with Twitch. So this is probably going to be the place for doing this type of content. If you guys are enjoying it, again, please help me out. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends as well. Unless you're in a league with them, then don't share it with those guys. All right, let's see here. Joik Bell or Martellus Bennett for a flex. Oh, this is an interesting one. I probably have Bell ranked higher, would be my guess. Just off the top of my head. Nope, I actually have Martellus Bennett ranked higher. So yeah, I am going to go Martellus Bennett though, because the more that I think about it, despite the fact that Alshon Jeffrey is healthy, I think that there's a really good chance that Martellus Bennett gets quite a few targets this week. Going into the week earlier this week, when there wasn't so much of an injury concern, and we were all expecting that Alshon was going to be healthy and everything, 100% healthy, I was pretty excited about Alshon's chances. And I was kind of worried about Martellus Bennett, but now, as we've heard, and now he's basically a game time decision, but it does again sound like he's going to play. I'm feeling more confident in Martellus Bennett. I think he's going to get plenty of touches here in week 1. So I'm going to go Martellus Bennett, which is pretty far against what I normally do. I usually don't play a tight end in a flex. How do I feel about AP and Peyton Manning this week? AP could be the number 1 running back this week. Would not be surprised if Peyton Manning's the number 1 quarterback this week. I don't have them ranked in those positions, but I have both of them ranked very, very high. I have Peyton Manning at number 4 at quarterback. I have Adrian Peterson ranked number 3 at running back this week. So excellent. I think that they're both excellent options. If you have both of them, you're in very, very good shape. That was from Hunter Porton. Crowell or Brandon Marshall as a flex. Another interesting one. I think Isaiah Crowell, obviously more likely to get more touches, and Marshall more likely to be in a situation where he probably has a big game. So I guess it kind of depends on what you need. If you think that you need a big game out of your player, I would probably lean toward Brandon Marshall. I think he has the opportunity to do that, but he could be lined up with Joe Hayden all day, and that could be a really tough situation for him. I am going to lean toward Brandon Marshall, though, in a half PPR league. If it's a non-PPR league, I think it's a little closer, and I think that's kind of a coin flip, so you could go either way with it. I guess, like I said, I'm leaning a little bit more toward Brandon Marshall, but I wouldn't push you either way. I think that's pretty close one way or another. So somebody asked about Eddie Royal. We got to check out Eddie Royal as well. He was also another guy who was injured going into week 1. So hopefully we can figure that one out. Let's see here. He is active for week 1, according to numerous reports. So that's good. And I will probably lean toward Eddie Royal here because Sammy Watkins' situation isn't spectacular here. I know that I probably have Watkins ranked above Royal right now, but that was also with the assumption that Royal was probably going to be fairly limited. Does sound like he's going to play. There isn't really a whole lot of concern about it, doesn't seem. So move Royal up in my rankings just a little bit, and that should make him, especially in a full PPR league, I like Eddie Royal quite a bit this week. I think that he could get some serious attention from the quarterback. Do I risk Mike Evans or sit him and start Andre Johnson? Easily start Andre Johnson. I mentioned this before. Mike Evans, probably not the best start to begin with this week. Tennessee's pass defense is fairly decent. They're middle of the pack. Their run defense was really, really bad last year, but their pass defense is quite a bit better. So I am going to lean toward Andre Johnson. I understand Buffalo's defense is quite a bit better, but then also keep in mind that Andrew Luck quite a bit better than Jameis Winston at this point in their careers anyway. Let me take a drink here. Mountain Dew, breakfast of champions, right? Right. All right. Let's see here. Alfred Blue or Trey Mason? Well, Trey Mason is inactive, it sounds like. So Alfred Blue, Preston. Definitely lean toward Alfred Blue. Lynch or Jamal Charles? That's a good question to have. I mean, hopefully you can start both of them. I have them ranked 5th and 6th at running back. I have Jamal Charles slightly ahead of Marshawn Lynch, so that's the way I'd go, I guess. Standard scoring, I think maybe you lean toward Marshawn Lynch over Jamal Charles, but it's a coin flip, and both of them are great options. Joseph Randall, Chris Ivory, Amir Abdullah, or John Brown at flex. I'm going with Amir Abdullah. No, I'm just joking. I answered this question earlier, a question involving Amir Abdullah. The only way I'm starting Amir Abdullah this week is if it's as a flex in a full PPR league. Then I would consider starting him. But I like Chris Ivory a lot better. I think Chris Ivory is a lot more likely to get almost all the carries for the Jets. Amir Abdullah could just play passing downs this week. So I'm definitely leaning toward Chris Ivory going into week 1. Joseph Randall, we don't really know what's going on with him. John Brown, I like a lot, but again, he's going to be the wide receiver 3 for this team. So it's, we want to see what he can do first, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Bridgewater or Bradford? Definitely go Bradford. Kevin Fielder, excuse me. What do I think of the Vikings this year? From a fantasy standpoint, the Vikings have some good options this year. I think Adrian Peterson obviously is a great running back. Teddy Bridgewater was just on the previous guy's team. I lean toward Bradford in that situation, but only because I think Bradford's a great option this week. I'm actually okay with starting Teddy Bridgewater if you're in a 12-team league. I think that he should be fine, but I would lean toward Bradford. Allen Robinson or Deshaun Jackson in a standard league? I am leaning toward Allen Robinson. I think Allen Robinson's got a big upside this week here. I understand that Carolina's pass defense is decent, but and obviously Blake Bortles isn't very good, but neither is the situation in Washington. None of the guys out there in Washington could even win the job. They all just kind of putzed along and didn't really do much. Chase Plays Madden asks, should I start Aaron Rodgers or Mark Sanchez? Now, this is an interesting one because if Mark Sanchez gets in, I think that, no, I'm just joking. It's Aaron Rodgers. Wiza says, gotta enable live comments in your settings. I don't know how to do that, Wiza. I'm sorry. I wish that I did. Hopefully we can figure out how to do that. And maybe you can help me out because right now I'm frustrated that I don't know how to do it. Allow comments. It says allow comments. So I'm not chat. Enable live chat. It says that there's an enabled live chat, but it doesn't show up. So I'm not sure exactly what the situation is with that, to be completely honest with you. So again, guys, I'm sorry. I don't really know why that's doing that, but it is. So what can you do, I guess? Wish that I had a better answer for why that's not working, the live chat, but we'll try and figure it out for next week. Either way, this is kind of working anyway. We got, I'm answering the questions anyway. Let's go back over to Twitter. Start Keenan Allen or Jordan Matthews? Easily Jordan Matthews this week. I think that Matthews has an opportunity to be a top 10 wide receiver this year. And going into week 1, a great matchup against Atlanta. I've got Jordan Matthews ranked number 7 at wide receiver, which could be really high for some people, but I think he's going to get a ton of targets and he should be very good. Doesn't want to use Baltimore's defense against the Broncos, so he could start the Colts, the 49ers, the Minnesota Vikings, or the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a tough one, man. I don't think any of those options are very good. I guess I might lean toward the Colts just because we might see that Buffalo's offense is terrible under Tyrod Taylor. So I think that's probably the way that I would lean, but I don't really love any of those options, to be honest with you, Beast Mode. That's from Beast Mode Kevin on Twitter. Let's see here. John Brown or Nate Washington? Definitely leaning toward John Brown in this one. I would like the opportunity to have him in my lineup. Again, it's a question mark. I talked about him a couple of questions ago. It's a big question mark. We don't 100% know what's going to happen with John Brown, but I like his opportunity here in week 1. Ryan Tannehill or Eli Manning? Good question. I think I am leaning toward Tannehill. I have them ranked back-to-back, 8th and 9th at my rankings here in week 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if either of them had a big game. As far as the guy that I think would have the upside for the huge game, I think Eli Manning has the better upside for a bigger game. So I wouldn't fault you for starting him. I do have Tannehill ranked, like I said, slightly higher just based on the fact that I think it's more likely that he has a pretty good game against Washington. Washington's terrible. Dallas's defense, for as bad as I claim that they are, they're not the worst in the league. They're okay. They're middle to bottom of the pack, but they're not Washington, which is arguably the worst secondary in the league right now. Sammy Watkins or Eddie Royal? We answered that one already. Doug Martin or Chris Ivory? Good question. Both these guys, I think, are good options here in week 1. Let me see which way I have them ranked. Yeah, I have Chris Ivory ranked above. And the reason, guys, that I have to go back and check is because, I took a lot more time to sit and rank these things within my rankings than I did in the, off the top of my head. So, what I have on the sheet is probably going to be the way that I go more likely than not, unless something weird changes. Now, Doug Martin does look a little bit more interesting if Mike Evans doesn't play, just because they could lean on him a little bit more heavily. So I think you could probably argue putting Doug Martin ahead of Chris Ivory. But I am going Chris Ivory here in week 1 just because I think, again, that I think it's more likely that he's going to get all the carries for them. We could see some Charles Sims here in week 1 for the Bucks, so that could be a little bit more difficult. Jordan Matthews or Jeremy Maclin and Amari Cooper or Lamar Miller for standard. I'm going Jordan Matthews easily at wide receiver. And I don't know if these are separate leagues, but if you can get Jeremy Maclin in there, I wouldn't mind doing that. Otherwise, I am probably going to go Amari Cooper. Well, no, excuse me. I take that back. We're probably going to go Lamar Miller. Yeah, we're going to go Lamar Miller for a flex. Yeah, Mark, especially in a non-PPR, Lamar Miller is a good option this week. I like him a lot. Thank you for tweeting that out, Dark Raptor. I appreciate it. Again, Wise, I'm sorry. I wish I could figure out this. This is a Randy Moss jersey. Yes, it's a throwback Randy Moss jersey from way back in the day. You can see it's a Reebok one even. This thing is way old too, but it actually looks still pretty good. It doesn't have a lot of cracking in it or anything like that. So most of these old jerseys get really worn down and awful looking after time. But yeah, I like this jersey. It's one of my favorites. One of the ones that I roll out every once in a while when I'm feeling interesting. I was thinking about wearing an Emmitt Smith throwback jersey today, but we went with the Randy Moss. Stafford or Eli Manning? I'm going to go toward Eli Manning in this one. Amari Cooper or Mike Wallace? I'm going to go Amari Cooper. Thanks, Chase, for tweeting it out. How do we ask questions? Right there on Twitter, Rashid. Gore against Buffalo or Randall against the Giants? I'm going to go Gore against Buffalo. I understand that Buffalo's defense is very, very good, but Gore has the opportunity to get that goal line touchdown more than Randall does, I think. We just don't know what the Cowboys running back situation is going to be. Hopefully after week 1, we get a little bit of clarification, but right now I'm not excited about any of them going into week 1. If I had to play a Cowboys running back, it would be Joseph Randall, but I'm not excited about playing any of them. Non-PPR league, Aguilar or Hilton? Good question. I am going to go toward Hilton, though. We just know that he's more acclimated with Andrew Luck in the offense. I think that that's a better opportunity. Jarvis Landry or Allen Robinson? This is from 49er Faithful JE. Good question. I bet I have these guys ranked pretty closely. And I do. I'm going to go Jarvis Landry, though. Yes, Jarvis Landry has a much better matchup here in week 1. Greg Olsen or Vernon Davis? Greg Olsen, absolutely. Greg Olsen's your starting tight end until something else changes, I think, in Carolina. I think that he could be the number 2 tight end this year behind Gronk very easily. Devontae, this is coming from Rashid Archer, who apparently figured it out. All right, Devontae Adams, John Brown, or Devontae Parker? I'm leaning toward Devontae Adams. I think that he could have a monster game here in week 1. He really could. Tight end, Delaney Walker or Tyler Eifert? We're going to go with Delaney Walker. And also for the season, I have Delaney Walker ranked higher as well, Rashid. Isaiah Crowell or Amir Abdullah for running back 2. This is from Jutstock on Twitter. I'm going to go with Isaiah Crowell. Again, we just know that he's going to get the majority of the carries there in Cleveland here in week 1. And unfortunately, without knowing much about the Detroit running back situation, we don't really want to take a risk if we don't have to on that whole thing. And sorry, guys, if I sound congested again. Still, Minnesota allergies, man, it's brutal right now. Andre Ellington, Allen Robinson, or Eddie Royal for a flex? I'm going to go with Andre Ellington. Anytime we can try and get a running back in there in a standard scoring league, which is what this is, according to you, I think that you want to do that. So beast mode, Kevin again, Andre Ellington, I'm leaning toward him. Steve Smith or risk Mike Evans? Definitely go Steve Smith. We don't know what's going to happen with Mike Evans. I almost am going to tell you anybody with a name. I mean, if you ask me Mike Evans or Nate Washington, I would probably go with Mike Evans. But for week 1, we're going Steve Smith for sure. Steve Smith's a good option, so roll him out there. Amir Abdullah, Vincent Jackson, or Doug Baldwin? I'm going to guess that this is a standard scoring league. So I am going to go with Vincent Jackson, especially if Vincent Jackson is the only wide receiver active. I think that he becomes a very intriguing option there. Could get a lot of targets here in week 1. Hey, man, just asking who's a better flex option, Amari Cooper, Andre Johnson, Allen Robinson, or Joseph Randall? Good question. Flex option, standard scoring, I'm assuming. And I am going to go with Andre Johnson in week 1 of those options. That's coming from Jay Hammerschlag on Twitter. Andre Ellington's supposed to have a good day. Yes, he is. He should have a decent day. Need to, man, I'm getting a lot of tweets. Thank you guys for all the support this morning. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. And again, hopefully we'll be able to make it a little bit smoother with a chat box next time versus having you guys ask the questions on YouTube and on Twitter. Mark Ingram or Darren Sproles? Definitely Mark Ingram. That's a no question. Doesn't matter the format. Even if it is PPR, we just don't even know what Darren Sproles is going to do in that offense. We know Mark Ingram is going to get a ton of carries for the Saints, so that should be good. Any waiver wire options like Benny Cunningham? Yeah, Benny Cunningham. He's a good option. The other guys, it's hard to say what's available in your league. Going into week one, I did try and give you guys some options earlier in the week. I'm trying to think here. At wide receiver, you could consider Lewis Murphy if you're in a desperate situation. I think that if he starts for the Bucs, he could get decent number of targets. He might sneak in there for a touchdown. Let's see here. What else we got? Isaiah Crowell or Benny Cunningham? I'm going to go toward Isaiah Crowell. I just mentioned Benny Cunningham's going to get a decent number of carries. We don't necessarily love that situation against Seattle, though. Martellus Bennett or Jordan Cameron? I have Martellus Bennett ranked pretty high this week at tight end. I think he's going to be very, very good. He's my tight end 3 this week. So, Chase, if you're watching still, might want to make that lineup update. I do think, Alshon Jeffrey and Eddie Royal are going to play, and people are saying that Alshon looks very good, but I still think, given the fact that we've heard about how injured they are going into the week, and I'm not sure about Marcus Wilson, but if they're all hampered and Martellus Bennett's the only guy that's fully healthy, he could get quite a few targets this week. So I definitely like Martellus Bennett. I have him ranked way higher than I normally would in flex rankings as well. He'll probably be, top 5 to top 10 throughout the year at tight end, but at flex, like I said, this week I have him ranked quite a bit higher than I probably normally will. Mari Cooper or Mike Wallace? Mari Cooper, especially in PPR, I think he's got a real opportunity to have a big game. Devontae Adams or Jordan Matthews at flex? Man, if you have the opportunity to put Jordan Matthews at a flex, that's awesome. I have Jordan Matthews ranked as my number 7 wide receiver coming into this week, and I think he could have a huge, huge game. So I am a big fan of Jordan Matthews. I love Devontae Adams this week as well, but man, if that's your options, go with Jordan Matthews. I think he's the more guaranteed option, and he should have a big game this week. Alfred Morris at Miami or Gio Bernard at Oakland? It's a flex PPR. So those are always interesting questions, aren't they? When you have a backup running back against a bad defense or a starting running back against a good defense, and it's PPR, which leans towards the backup running back. Oh, that's always a tough one, man. I am I don't know. I guess I would probably go with Alfred Morris still. It's just more likely that he's going to get the majority of the touches, and again, in week one, we just want to see what happens. I think you could see a really heavy dose of Jeremy Hill this week. Jeremy Hill, for me, is my running back, number 2? Yeah, he's my 2nd overall running back this week. So I'm loving me some Jeremy Hill going into week one, and I'm definitely relying on him to have a big game. So I would go Alfred Morris. I wouldn't fault you for going Gio Bernard, but I think the upside just isn't great. I mean, what's his realistic upside that he catches 5 passes for 50 yards at the most and probably doesn't score a touchdown, might get 25 to 30 yards rushing, maybe 40 yards rushing. So what does that give you in a PPR? 14 as like a ceiling. I think Morris has a better ceiling than that, even against Miami. He could get a touchdown or 2, possibly, I think. So I would probably lean toward Morris. Good question, though. Very good question. That's from okay, so his name is Wiza is Chill AF, so he's a big Wiza fan. But then his Twitter is Cullenberger's #1 fan. So he loves Cullenberger and Wiza, and he follows Clickwood TV like a beast. So there you go. LaShawn McCoy or Frank Gore? I am still going to go LaShawn McCoy. I know he's injured. Who's my favorite kicker for today? I have no idea. We don't do kicker questions here on this channel, guys. Fuck kickers. That's what I have to say about kickers. No, but if you were honestly asking me that, I mean, I guess probably Dan Bailey. And that makes me sound like a Cowboys homer, which I am to some extent, but should be a shootout game, and the Cowboys will, they have no shame in kicking field goals. They're not overly aggressive on offense, so they should have a good opportunity. Giovanni Bernard or Ryan Matthews or Reggie Bush in this is starting. Okay, so not Bush. Where do I have Matthews ranked? Yeah, I'm going to go Gio Bernard. That's what I thought. Gio Bernard, again, not loving it, but, he could have a decent game. Who should I start, Joique Bell or Darren McFadden? Good question. Unfortunately, like I said, we just don't know what's going to happen with the Cowboys running back situation. So I am going to go with Joique Bell. This is coming from Aiden Schwartz on Twitter. I'm not for certain what's going to happen with the Cowboys backfield. Darren McFadden could go out there and get 5 touches, and that just wouldn't be enough. Joique Bell should get the majority of the carries out of the backfield for them. I understand Amir Abdullah is very good, and he will get some touches as well, but I'm not overly excited about his upside here. For Darren McFadden. So I'm going with Joique Bell. Lamar Miller or Shady McCoy? Good question. Both these guys are good options this week. I am going to go Lamar Miller just because LaShawn McCoy is injured and we don't really know what's going to happen with that whole situation. He could get the majority of the touches, which he probably will, but he also could get completely limited. So it's tough to say one way or another, to be honest with you. But again, Lamar Miller, I think is pretty locked in to get a good number of touches here. Let's flip on over back to the YouTube comments. And guys, I'm sorry for not having a better way to do this, but hopefully you guys are still enjoying what we're doing here. Philip Dorsett or Victor Cruz? Definitely Philip Dorsett because Victor Cruz is not going to play. Russell Wilson or Colin Kaepernick? Definitely Russell Wilson. Isaiah Crowell or Benny Cunningham? I think I might have answered this one already, but we're going Isaiah Crowell. Mike Evans, Roddy White, Marcus Colston, or John Brown? Ooh, good question. I kind of like John Brown out of that group. I kind of like John Brown. I would probably go with him. Romo or Wilson? Good question. That's closer than it will normally be probably this week. I do have Tony Romo ranked ahead of Russell Wilson this week. I wouldn't blame you for playing Russell Wilson first because you obviously drafted him above Tony Romo. But my opinion, Tony Romo is more likely to be in a shootout this week, and we like shootouts for fantasy football. Matt Ryan or Sam Bradford? Going Sam Bradford. I think the upsides just, or no, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm going Matt Ryan. Excuse me. I think the upside for both these guys is awesome. I'm not exactly 100% sure what's going to happen here. With the Sam Bradford situation. So I think it's a little bit safer to go with Matt Ryan, and they both have great upside. So Matt Ryan, great options though in week 1, man. You could be selling very, very high on one of those quarterbacks after week 1. I would probably recommend it if they both have a good game, unless it's even if it is a 2 quarterback league, you wouldn't ask this question. So I would try and sell high on one of them because I think they're likely to have a big game. And you really only need one of them. You don't need to have 2 good quarterbacks in your roster. Let's upgrade the team elsewhere. Carlos Hyde, Doug Martin, or Golden Tate for a flex position. I'm going to go Doug Martin. I think he's he's a pretty good option this week. If it's standard anyway. If it's standard, I would go with him. For PPR, I would probably go Golden Tate. Let's see here. Alfred Blue, Ryan Matthews, or Charles Johnson? Charles Johnson, I'm probably leaning toward. I think that he's got the highest upside of the group. Tannehill or Bridgewater? Tannehill for week 1 from the Sackmaster. Joseph Randall or Darren McFadden? Good question. I think I answered this one before, just not directly, but I do think Joseph Randall is going to get the majority of the carries. Ryan Matthews or Isaiah Crowell in a non-PPR? Isaiah Crowell for sure. LaShawn McCoy or Chris Ivory? LaShawn McCoy from Don Garcia. Deshaun Jackson, Devontae Adams, or Vincent Jackson? I'm going to go Devontae Adams. I'm trying to answer all these guys. Sorry if I miss anything. Sammy Watkins or Amari Cooper? Amari Cooper in week 1. Martellus Bennett or Vernon Davis? I think I answered this one already. Martellus Bennett. Devontae Adams, Carlos Hyde, or Shane Vereen at flex. I don't know if it's PPR or not. That would change things slightly, but I am going to go Devontae Adams. DeAndre Hopkins or Andre Johnson? DeAndre Hopkins. I like both of them, though. Kind of cool that you have both the old Texans receivers, right? Thoughts on Green Beckham? For the season, I think Dorial Green Beckham could be a decent wide receiver. Here in week 1, I'm not super excited about him just because we don't know what's going to happen. So I'm not risking rolling him out there in most situations. Tyler Eifert or Richard Rodgers standard scoring? I am higher on Richard Rodgers than most people are, and probably even a little bit lower on Tyler Eifert than most people are. But I like Tyler Eifert better here in week 1. I think there's a better opportunity for him. Just given the fact that we don't know what Green Bay's offense is going to be. If it's anything like it was last year, then the tight end position won't be overly relevant for them. And Cincinnati's always been pretty consistent with targeting their tight ends. Let me take another drink, guys. Sorry. All right. Mike Evans or Alfred Blue? Flex scoring. Got to go Alfred Blue. We just, again, anything with Mike Evans. I'm probably not going to go with Mike Evans right now. Joseph Randall, Ivory, Andre Johnson, Jeremy Maclin, or Latavius in a PPR. That's a lot of guys. I'm going to go with Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray in that situation. Good options, though. A lot of good options there. I like Chris Ivory. I like Jeremy Maclin, frankly. I like Andre Johnson, too. But I think Latavius Murray probably has the best opportunity here. Let's go back here and load up the questions again here on YouTube. Matt Forte or Jeremy Hill? Great question. I mean, I'm hoping that you can somehow fit both those guys into your lineup. I mean, geez, unless it's like a 4-team league or something, but I'm going Jeremy Hill. Jeremy Hill's my number 2 running back this week. I'm very, very high on him. I think he's going to have a monster game. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, or Jarvis Landry? Jarvis Landry, I think, out of that group. Standard scoring doesn't really change much for these guys because they're all kind of more PPR relevant than they are standard scoring. So, yeah, Jarvis Landry. That's for Nate Bennett. What do I think about Jordan Cameron this week? I have to ride with him too, man. I'm with you on that, Jason. I'm not super excited about the situation because we don't really know. Again, any of these guys on new offenses, we don't really know. So I prefer not to take the chance on them. But hey, you know, if you're in a situation like I am where you didn't get one of the top 5 tight ends, then, you know, you're pretty much rolling the dice on any of the other guys anyway. Jeremy Hill or Jeremy Maclin at flex. That's very, very easy for me. It's Jeremy Hill without question. That's for Ghost RoboFan 8. Ryan Matthews or Danny Woodhead at flex. Good question. I'm going to actually go Danny Woodhead. I understand that Ryan, if it was PPR, I'd actually be more excited about Danny Woodhead. But yeah, Danny Woodhead for Sahir Ahmad. What's up, Click? Just having a good time, man, doing this stuff. I'm happy to answer all these questions for you guys. I'm so happy that so many of you guys stopped by today. I know some of you have been coming and going and everything like that. Hopefully you got your question answered. If you didn't, I apologize. Maybe you can tweet it at me after the show ends here in 5-10 minutes, and hopefully I can answer it for you before the games begin. But I got to double check all my lineups as well before I risk too much and answer everybody else's questions. Stafford and Matt Ryan, I think I answered that one. Murray from the Raiders or Justin Forsett as an RB2. Ooh, good question. I'm going to lean toward Justin Forsett here in week 1. Broncos D is very good, but and frankly, Cincinnati's run D is terrible. But Oakland's defense, or their offense just in general, isn't spectacular. So I think that Baltimore has a better opportunity to put up more points, and we typically want the team that's going to put up more points. So that's where I'm going to go. Texans D or Rams D. I guess Texans. Defenses and kickers, I don't really care that much about, to be honest with you. It's so hard for them to be the thing that wins you a week. And usually if it is, they get a defensive touchdown or like a kick return touchdown or some BS like that. That's so hard to predict. So I'm not really excited about any of that stuff. I understand JJ Watt's on the Texans D, so that's kind of exciting. But even JJ Watt is not likely to get a defensive touchdown on a week-to-week basis. Cam Newton or Colin Kaepernick? That's a tough one, man, because I am not overly excited about either of them in week 1. I have Cam Newton ranked 15th and Colin Kaepernick ranked 21st. So I guess I'm going Cam Newton. Good luck. I'm not sure what's going to happen there with that horrible Carolina passing game right now. No one on that team looking very good for week 1. Jonathan Stewart's definitely the guy that I'm leaning toward if I have to start somebody. Let's see here. John Brown or Alfred Morris for Chi-Town Bears. We're going to go Alfred Morris. Standard scoring, I'm assuming. Vincent Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, or Allen Robinson as a wide receiver, too. With Mike Evans looking less and less likely, I'm definitely liking Vincent Jackson a little bit more just because I think he could get targeted quite a bit this week. I do have Allen Robinson ranked higher, and I think Jeremy Maclin ranked higher, if I remember correctly. Let me look this up. Yep, I have both of them ranked higher right now, but I'm liking Vincent Jackson more and more. I have all of them ranked very, very close to one another. I am leaning toward Allen Robinson, though. If it's a standard scoring league, I'd probably go Vincent Jackson. If it's PPR, I'd probably go Allen Robinson. Hopefully that helps you out. That's for when 1999 Tay. All right. Thanks, man. Good luck today. Thank you very much. Good luck to you as well, Justock. Who should I start at my wide receiver spots as well as my flex? I have Calvin. Well, Calvin's an obvious one. You start Calvin every week without question. Doesn't matter the matchup, period. If he's healthy, he's in your lineup, period. End of story. Emmanuel Sanders, Andre Johnson, Vincent Jackson, or Brandon Marshall. I'm not sure. I'm assuming you need 2 wide receivers and a flex. So Emmanuel Sanders has got to be in there. I think he's an elite player. Then it comes down to Andre Johnson, Vincent Jackson, or Brandon Marshall. And I'm going to go Andre Johnson in week 1. So the first 3 guys. That's for Soda Gaming. Good luck, Soda. I've seen your YouTube channel as well, man. Good stuff on there. Let's see here. Eagles D or Colts D? Again, D's we don't really. D's nuts is what no, I'm just joking. Colts D is probably where I would lean just because we don't know what Tyrod Taylor is going to do. I'm not going to answer too many defensive questions. I'll probably skip over most of those, but I'll answer that one. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, or Jarvis Landry? We already answered that one. Deshaun Jackson, Vincent Jackson, Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams. I love Devontae Adams this week. If you can get him in your lineup, I love it. Do it. Do it. 3 wide receivers I need to play. Jeremy Maclin, Devin Funchess, or Marcus Colston. Jeremy Macklin's 1. Marcus Colston is 2, in my opinion, right now. It's tough. I don't love Marcus Colston or Devin Funchess, to be honest with you. Definitely Jeremy Maclin, though, and then flip a coin between the 2 of them. Colston's in the better offense. Colston's in the better offense. You might want to lean there. Golden Tate or Keenan Allen or David Johnson for a flex. Golden Tate. Yes, Golden Tate. Great, Scott. Raptor X3. Is this going to be an every Sunday kind of thing? That's what I'm hoping for, man. If everybody seems to like it, which it seems like a lot of people are stopping by. So thank you guys for all the support. I know YouTube's not as exciting as Twitch for live streaming, but hopefully you guys are enjoying it anyway. We're going to try and do it every week. And hopefully Austin will be a little bit more available. Supposedly he's available now, but I'm not going to add him in here right now. And maybe we do this with just me on a week-to-week basis. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I can fix my lighting too. But, right now I don't have the green screen behind me because we had to move around yesterday. I've got little girl birthday stuff in the background. So hopefully it'll be a little bit better of a presentation going forward. But hopefully this is helping you guys out anyway. Flacco or Stafford in week 1? Good question. I have these guys ranked pretty close to one another. I'm going to go with Matt Stafford, though. San Diego's past D isn't anything special. And, Matt Stafford, I think, is just a better quarterback with better options to throw to. All right, let's see here. How do we ask you questions? There's no comment section. A lot of people are asking questions in the comment section, so I'm not sure how you're not seeing it. But either way, N Parrots, you can always tweet the questions to me as well, and I'll try and answer them. Let's see here. I answered that one. Half PPR league. This is from Aiden Schwartz. Should I start Larry Donnell, who I like this week, Bishop Sankey, or Eric Decker? Mike Evans sits in this situation. You start the other guys. You can only start one of them. Okay. Sankey. Bishop Sankey in week 1. We don't know if anybody else is even going to get carries out of the Tennessee backfield. So Bishop Sankey, I think, has the best opportunity. Tampa Bay's defense isn't very good, so not too worried about them. And again, he's going to get a lot of touches. I do like Larry Donnell this week at tight end. I'm starting him in a few leagues. I have him ranked number 5 at tight end, so that's very, very high among tight ends. But I think, just from a standpoint of, I typically want to start my wide receivers above tight ends. That's probably the way that I'm leaning. But, I guess you could go either way with it. I think in a PPR, it's probably, it's a half PPR that we're talking. Ah, man. Oh, that's a tough one because I really want to get Larry Donnell in there. Oh, it's a tough question. You know what? Fuck it. We're going to go with Larry Donnell. Larry Donnell over Bishop Sankey. If Ryan's watching this right now, he's losing his shit. I know he doesn't like Bishop Sankey, but the Cowboys defense is so bad against tight ends. Let's go with Larry Donnell. Let's roll him out there and see what happens. It should be a shootout. All right. I already answered that question as well. Choose 2. Oh, Wiza tweeted me one too. Okay. Choose 2. Joseph Randall, Chris Ivory, or Isaiah Crowell? Chris Ivory, Isaiah Crowell. This is for Shay Nolan because look, Joseph Randle, we just don't know what's going to happen with the Cowboys running back situation right now. It could be Darren McFadden, could be Kristen Michael for all we know. I mean, most reports right now are that Joseph Randle is going to get that first chance, but man, it could be rough. I mean, with that offensive line, he should be able to do well, but I'm not risking it here in week 1 if I've got other decent options, which you have 2 other decent options, so go with them. Chris Ivory, Isaiah Crowell for you. Drake Bell or Sammy Watkins at the flex. See here. I think I'm going to lean toward Bell. Let me just double check. I have them ranked really close to one another. If it's PPR, go with Watkins. If it's non-PPR, go with Bell. That's what I'll tell you. How's that? If it's half PPR, then Watkins. All right. Macklin, Deshaun Jackson. This is from Wiza. Wiza now. If you guys don't know Wiza, make sure you go over there, follow his YouTube channel. Dude does awesome stuff. One of the guys that got me involved in YouTube. So thank him for that, of course, if you guys like my stuff. If not, then blame him. But Jeremy Macklin, Deshaun Jackson, and Rashad Jennings. One has to start at wide receiver, one at flex. Who sits? Jeremy Macklin's your starter at wide receiver. And between Deshaun Jackson and Rashad Jennings, neither of those are super high on my rankings, Wiza. Let's see here. Where do I have Deshaun Jackson ranked? I have Deshaun Jackson ranked 75th at flex. I'm going to go Rashad Jennings. I'm going to go to Rashad Jennings. I think the opportunity is just going to be better for him to get a touchdown here in week 1. You know, with the running back situation there not being too figured out yet, it could be Andre Williams, but I think Rashad Jennings is most likely to get the majority of the touches there for them in week 1. So let's go with Rashad Jennings at running back, or excuse me, at flex, and then Jeremy Macklin at wide receiver. Let's see here. Noah Cray at my flex. Kyle Rudolph, Brandon Cooks, or Mark Ingram. Well, Kyle Rudolph's definitely out here. Brandon Cooks and Mark Ingram are both awesome options. So depends on if it's PPR. If it's PPR, I'm a little bit higher on Cooks than I am with Ingram. Where do I have Ingram ranked? Yeah, 27th and a half PPR for Ingram and 20th for Cooks. So if it's non-PPR, I would probably go Ingram. If it's PPR, Cooks. And then at flex, Macklin, Cooks, Rudolph, or Ingram. So you have you added Macklin in there. Okay, still we're gonna go with Cooks in the PPR and Ingram in the non-PPR. Again, I don't know the scoring situation. Try to help me out, guys. If you're asking questions, let me know if it's PPR or half PPR or just standard. If it's if you guys don't mention it, I'm going to assume it's standard, just because it's too hard for me to assume otherwise. Latavius Murray, Doug Martin, or Amir Abdullah. I'm going to go with Latavius Murray. I think against Cincinnati's D, he has an opportunity to have a decent game this week. Who do I start? Alfred Blue or Joseph Randle? Okay, so this is another one. We just don't know what's going to happen here with their situation. I am going to go with Joseph Randle just for upside. So this is the first time that I'm answering a question with Joseph Randle being the person that I'm choosing. So keep that in mind, guys. I'm not super high on Joseph Randle, but I think over Alfred Blue in week 1. Again, we just don't know what's going to happen in either of those situations. So you got to go with the guy that I think has the higher upside. If Randle gets 20 touches this week, he's going to have a monster game. The Giants D is not very good. All right, let's go back to YouTube, and I'll wrap this up here in about 5 minutes. So if you guys have any other questions, make sure that you tweet those at me, because we'll be ending the live stream here in just a few moments. All right. Thanks for help. One last question. Cam Newton or Alex Smith? Cam Newton. Matt Ryan or Ryan Tannehill? We answered that one. We're going with Matt Ryan. Is this your first Sunday or Saturday stream? Well, it's not Saturday, so no. But it is my first Sunday stream for fantasy football. Yes. Flex position, Delaney Walker or Allen Robinson. We're going to go with Allen Robinson. TJ Yeldon, Isaiah Crowell, or Alfred Blue. We're going to go Isaiah Crowell, I'm sorry, for Ian. And then Jeremy Macklin, Brandon Marshall, or Tevin Coleman at flex. Going to go Jeremy Macklin, I think. Yep, Jeremy Macklin. All right. So I'm going to check out, make sure we don't have any more questions. Thank you guys all for coming by today. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully, again, we'll get this figured out a little bit better for next week. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it, though. If you do, again, hit that like button on the video and subscribe to the channel. We'll have more of this type of stuff from a week-to-week basis. Hopefully, I'll be able to do more like actually giving you guys more suggestions throughout the week. It's been a kind of a busy week with my daughter's birthday and that kind of stuff, but on a week-to-week basis, I'm going to try and give you guys some flex options, some sleepers, some guys who could potentially bust, that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Any of these receivers worth stashing for potential? Torrey Smith, Devontae Parker, or Terrence Williams? I like Devontae Parker the best of the bunch. That's for Rashid Archer. Start Macklin and Jennings, this person says. Yep, I agree. That was in response to Wiza. So I think that's going to about do it. I'll check one more time here on YouTube, and I'll answer the questions that I got on YouTube. Otherwise, we'll wrap up the stream for the afternoon. Good luck in your fantasy games this week, guys. Truly, I hope that everybody does really well. I'm sorry if I missed your question. We got quite a few. We got more than I was expecting. So thank you guys for that. It's fun. I know it's week 1. Everybody's really excited. I am as well. Brandon Marshall, Randall Cobb, Amari Cooper. Who do I start? Standard scoring. Well, Randall Cobb's in there, obviously, and then it comes down to Amari Cooper or Brandon Marshall, and I'm going to go Amari Cooper. I think the upside's better for him this week. So that's the last question. That's for Killy Ultras. That's going to wrap it up. That flew by, guys. Seriously, holy crap. We were on here for like an hour, and it seemed like it just flew by. So hopefully you guys got a ton of questions answered. Thank you so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to try and answer your questions next week as well. If you want me to answer them on the stream, make sure you guys just stop by again, and hopefully we'll have the comment section working a little bit better for next week as well. So thank you guys again so much. Have a great afternoon. Good luck in fantasy football this week, guys, and I'll talk to you guys next week and on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So see you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.